welcome back to World Crisis Radio. So that's pretty much the mood at Langley, Foggy Bottom, and the old executive office building, the NSC. What goes on in Tunisia is, to some degree, not really in conformity with what the CIA believes, but we had Ben Ali, and Ben Ali had been there for a long time. Let me say at the beginning, my acquaintance with Tunisia is at least significant. I visited Tunisia in February of 1985. Those were the final years of Bourguiba, the previous president who had been president since independence from France in the late 1950s, and met any number of Tunisian government officials at that time. And then again in late 2004, in November, December, for a philosophical conference, the Colloquium of Carthage, which was about the philosophy of Leibniz and Locke and Descartes. And so that was an international philosophical conference there in it's called the Colloquium of Carthage. It was at the Beit el Hikmah philosophy house, or House of Wisdom, north of Tunis, in that area, which is close to Hammamet and close to the international resort, and close to the what remains of Carthage. Now, the idea was that Ben Ali, of course, was an oppressive, authoritarian government. Whether he was as totalitarian, iron-handed as he's now being portrayed, it's not exactly clear to me. Some people at the time in 2004, when I asked them about that, said no, he's not that oppressive. But of course, what has been added now to make this entire thing really unbearable is the world economic depression, which works for everybody. That's the new ingredient in the entire mix, is that you now have very high levels of unemployment across the Arab world and everywhere else in the world. You have economic despair, and thanks to the speculation from Wall Street, we now have oil approaching $100 a barrel at different times over the last couple of weeks. We've got fuel prices going into the ionosphere, and a completely radical uptick in food prices. So the prices on food are now way up. So between those three factors, no jobs, fuel is expensive, food is expensive, economic despair, this makes for a very, very heady mix. Now, unfortunately, the Tunisian events seem to be taking a Romanian path. In the Romanian overthrow of Ceausescu and his regime in December of 1989, one of the things that was marked was that, in contrast to East Germany, in contrast to Czechoslovakia, there was a lot of killing going on, a lot of shooting in Romania. That has now become the case in Tunisia. The other thing is that in Romania, the communist circles, since they were the only ones who had any political experience, tended to create a new government made up of figures that had at one time or another been part of Ceausescu's entourage. Same thing in Tunisia. The attempted governments of this past week are with people who had been associated to one degree or another with Ben Ali. Ben Ali also took the Romanian parallel quite seriously. Ben Ali apparently fled the country before he even knew where he was going. He got into the air with whatever he could take with him, tried to go to France, was rejected there, and was fine. He did negotiations by radio and was then able to find a safe haven in Saudi Arabia. But that may indicate what's going on. Now, watch for the U.S. If the U.S. decides that things are going in the wrong direction, suppose you got a government in Tunisia that says, we're sick of the International Monetary Fund. Take a look at the recommendations that I make at the end of that Tunisia WikiLeaks putsch paper, because I essentially give a program of what any new government in the Arab world ought to do. Things like kick out the International Monetary Fund, kick out the World Bank, declare an immediate debt moratorium, a complete payment freeze on all international financial debt, especially the ones owed to the IMF, the World Bank, and so forth. Throw off all conditionality. Don't be bound by the free trade rules. Do barter deals with other countries. Get yourself some food stocks. Build up stocks of wheat. Seize your central bank. Issue 0% credit. Housing, always a tremendous problem in these countries. You can build housing, generally speaking, using in-country resources. You don't need foreign exchange. You've got the machines. You've got the labor. You just start building housing of reasonable quality, and you begin to change people's lives. Same thing for roads, infrastructure, and the rest. So use the obvious New Deal methods to get an economic recovery going, and you can essentially guarantee the future of the country. The food question is very important. You probably want to take measures against food speculation. You want to do things to build up your own independent food stocks. Similarly, you may want to nationalize foreign companies, especially oil companies, especially food companies, if they're giving you a hard time, and so on. Take a look at that paragraph. Suppose such a government appears in Tunisia. What's the U.S. response going to be? They're going to create Al-Qaeda in Tunisia. It's so obvious. When they want to attack a country, Al-Qaeda has to be there. With Iraq, right? There was no Al-Qaeda until the U.S. came in, and then it had to be created out of that Ansar enclave with the help of that guy, Zarqawi, I guess his name was, that they then liquidated later. Remember the guy who couldn't shoot the automatic rifle. So watch out for Al-Qaeda in Tunisia. Now, Tunisia, what's a programmatic element that could really turn things around? When I was there in 2004, the idea came to me, and it had come to me earlier. If you've ever been to Sicily, if you've ever been to the southwest corner of Sicily, there are some significant mountains, and at the top of one of these mountains, or near the top, is the city of Erice. And Erice was the scene of a big international scientific conference that I happened to attend in 1984. And in 1984, you could go to the top at Erice, and you could look across the what the Italians call Canale di Sicilia, the Sicilian Channel. In other words, you can see North Africa from a mountain in Sicily. This is not a big distance. And from Tunisia, you have to go way north of Tunis and Carthage to see what it is. But I believe at least if you have some on a clear day, you might be able to see it from that side too. But from Sicily, you can see it for sure. So doesn't this propose the following thing? You look at Tunisia. It's one of the best educated populations in the Arab world. It's a country that was founded by school teachers, essentially. The whole revolution was led by people who had been professors and educators. And that goes for Bourguiba, who was a very interesting model of moderation in the Arab world. A lot to be learned from Bourguiba. In a sense, Bourguiba is the corrective to the rhetorical excess of Nasser. If you put Nasser and Bourguiba together, that's pretty much the model for any successful Arab country, I would say. But what could you do? Well, we have my old friend Giuseppe Zamberletti on the Italian side is trying to build the bridge across the Straits of Messina from Calabria to Sicily, right? Scylla and Charybdis, right? This narrow channel, right? This is much shorter distance than on the African side. You can build a bridge across that. Why doesn't the Tunisian government get busy? And this was my proposal of November, December 2004. Get busy and start building a bridge tunnel. You have the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel built here in the United States 40, 50 years ago almost. The technology is there, needless to say. You could build a bridge tunnel linking Sicily with Tunisia, and that would make Tunisia the portal for all of Africa, all of North Africa, all of the Arab world, or at least a significant part of it. That could lead then to a tremendous economic boom. But think big, and don't let the IMF, the World Bank, the World Wildlife Fund, and others tell you no.